So I've got something that I need to get off my chest. I gotta let you in on a little secret. Man, it's a dirty little secret. In fact, Cupcake gets embarrassed whenever I talk about this. Did I ever tell you how I got into this doing business online thing? Doing business online. I don't remember the year exactly, but you're going to know this guy. You're going to know this book. Now it's old news. But when it first came out, it was a rage. It was what everybody was talking about. It was Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. People could not get enough of this book. And before that, I had limited exposure to online other than reading a little bit, doing some research. But it never occurred to me that you could do business online and have people around the world on your team and working with you for a common goal. And it could be profitable and it could be fun. And man, that sounded awesome. So I've probably talked about that before. But the big takeaway, well, one of the big takeaways, there was lots of them. The first big takeaway that I had from reading that book was the idea of these mini retirements. And Tim makes the case for why wait till you're old to experience retiring. Why not do it while you're young and you can still enjoy it? And that resonated with me. I love that idea. And I became obsessed with that idea. And I merged that idea with doing business online and figured if I could do business online, I could take mini retirements. And so that's my long way around telling you that I have not recorded in nearly 3 months, and I'm up against the wall here. This episode, if it gets done, it's gonna be a 4-day turnaround. So thank you to my team. I know you guys can do it, but I don't like putting you under that pressure. But yeah, it's been nearly 3 months where we went to Utah, Park City, Utah, snowboard adventure, 5 weeks. Dreamt about it for years. And it happened this year, and we had fun. We had clients visiting. We had so much snow. We had new equipment. The whole thing was awesome. Huddy got on the mountain with us, and I've got a video of him snowboarding. Maybe I'll post it on the show notes here if I can embed it. But yeah, I haven't recorded in a while, but I have been busy behind the scenes. I have been busy working on the Podcast Factory. You know, there's a difference between working in your business and on your business. And while I was away, I made it a point to work on my business more than in it. And the reason was only limited hours in the day, and I need to go snowboarding. So I'm going to do as little work as possible and the work that moves the dial the most. And that's really when you're working on your business. So one of the things I did was, we got a new front page to the website. I've been obsessed with stories and StoryBrand. I don't know if you guys have read that book, but Donald Miller, it's a great book, number one. And it's a great, if you study what he's doing, not just in that book, but then you learn just enough to be dangerous, but then you want to learn more. And so he's got a course and he's got certification if you want to make your business, the StoryBrand business, and join forces with him. And it's super interesting from the business perspective. And of course, really the story thing, because I've been obsessed with stories. You guys know that I've been obsessed with stories, and I'm obsessed with telling a better story and how stories influence people and persuade them and inspire them. So it's no wonder that I got all into StoryBrand. And that's one of the things we were working on was StoryBranding the website. So behind the scenes, I lead the team in the direction and everybody else does the work. That's the way it should be. I mean, if you're running a business, right? Anyways, so I love to study these guys. I love to study marketers. I love to study how they're moving people through the sales process. And the other day, one of the marketers that I've been following for a long, long time, Frank Kern. You guys know Frank Kern, Mass Control. Dating myself here. But yeah, I still follow the guy. I think he's interesting. I think he tells a fun story and he's a good marketer. And so I got caught up in one of his stories. Instagram leads me to a video sales letter. I'm like, yeah, I love this. And right into buying, I think it was just a book. It starts at $10, something like that. And then to a 27 upsell, and then to a $297, then a $197. I bought most of everything I could except for one piece because I already had it. But I love studying these guys and I love to buy from them. And that's one of the things that if you're doing business online is something that's going to make the difference between success and a painful, miserable experience is when you know that people love to buy and you can help them buy instead of having to sell them, you're going to have a whole lot more fun. That's one of the things we do here with the Direct Response Podcast framework is getting people indoctrinated, getting people educated, getting them in a mood where they want to buy and they're happy to buy and they're excited to buy from you. It's one of the things that we specialize in here. And anyways, I love to buy. That's how I know it works. So I buy all that Frank Kern new stuff to dive into. And I'm working on a couple projects like the story brand of the website. Another thing that I'm trying to do is get better quality show notes for our clients. Because we've gotten some feedback and they're like, yeah, man, we love you guys, we love Cupcake, but show notes kind of suck. Ouch. Yeah. I know you were getting into that, but what kind of marketer would I be if I didn't make you an offer? So check this out. How would you like to spend more time with your family and less time on your business? Before anyone chooses to do business with you, they need to know one thing. Can I trust you? But building trust can take forever, and I know you don't have that kind of time. But what if there was a way to build trust in minutes instead of years? Would you want it? I know you would. So go grab yourself a copy of my Digital Daddies Toolkit. Inside, you'll get my top 3 speed influence tools to make you a trusted expert in any market fast. Go to daddiesworking.com/DDT to grab your copy today. Now, a lot of people might get offended by that. I see it as challenge accepted. What can we do to make our show notes better? How can we improve our show notes? Because the idea has always been for the show notes to make the reader want to click and listen. That's our main objective for our show notes. Making the person reading want to click and listen, because at the end of the day, we don't want them reading our show notes and then just moving on or seeing what else is going on. We want them into the content. And so that's always been our main objective. Now, yeah, sure, good to have an objective. But what you got to also think about is how your clients are using them and how that is lining up with their strategy. And so we got some feedback about our show notes from several people that the voice wasn't matching up, it wasn't hitting. And I'm like, oh, all right. I'm firing all our copywriters. Not that, but I'm like, we really need a shift here. And so I bought the Frank Kern. I don't even know what the product was called, Trusted Authority or something like that. And I dive in and he's got this thing that I've been trying to figure out for years. And you hear it when you're hanging around with copywriters or people that are into marketing, and in particular, direct response marketing, is the big idea. The big idea is what sells things. The big idea is what makes you stand out. The big idea is what informs all of your other marketing. I always thought, how do you come up with a big idea? I don't know what a big idea is. What's a big idea? Can you do you have a picture of a big idea? Can you show me a big idea? Like, what does it look like? How does it smell? I mean, really, I couldn't figure out this big idea thing. And it wasn't until I went through that training from Mr. Kern, who I so excitedly gave him money. I wanted to buy it. I wanted to see what he had. And I'm glad I did, because inside that training, he was going through what big ideas are and how to come up with them and how to use them. And I realized when I saw his training, that was the tool that we needed. That was something. And now he didn't make a tool out of it. I kind of turned it into a tool. I am a tool sometimes. But yeah, I turned it into a tool, but he's got a framework. And maybe I'll put this, because we're testing it right now. We've got our show hosts filling out, using this tool to direct our copywriters to write better show notes for them that are more on point with what they wanted. And so this is what we do here. We have feedback and we go back to the drawing board and improve if things aren't working, and keep improving. So we're getting better all the time, innovating, supporting our hosts the best way we can. So I'm going to share this tool with you. And if you've ever struggled with coming up with a big idea, or you wondered how the heck a big idea happens, or what it looks like, or how to use one, I'm going to give you examples, and I'll give you a couple from, well, you know what I'll do? I'll give you an example that Frank used that everybody would recognize, and then I'll show you how I'm using it on a promotion that we're doing right now. Deal? All right, let's jump in. So if you could picture a square, and it's cut into 4 pieces. So you have 4 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, inside the big square, okay? And what you do is, on the top, you start out labeling the top left box, desire. What is it that your market wants? What do they need? What are they looking for? What do they want? What's their greatest desire as it pertains to whatever you were offering? So that's the top left. And if you know what people want, then the top right is easy to come up with. So the top right is promise. What are you doing? What are you giving me? What's in it for me? The famous radio station that every human is tuned into, We FM. What's in it for me? So the promise answers, what is in it for you? Now, we're going to go down to the lower left, delivery method. This is how you deliver on the promise. So if I am building backpacks out of Kevlar, well, that's how I deliver on the promise of tough backpacks that can't be destroyed. I made that up. I have real examples. I don't know why I'm doing that. But delivery method, how you will get this promise. And then from the right, bottom right, big idea. So this is where I was stuck for so many years and I couldn't figure out what this meant, what it looked like, how to do it. This is where it comes in. So the big idea puts everything together, but not just puts it together. It packages it up in a sexy, interesting, new, fun, exciting way. So I'm going to go to the example. Oh, and then there's one more box that you add underneath that. It's kind of like a summary. And this is the premise. So this is the idea and how your idea ties into your market. And this is where you're informing all the rest of your marketing. When you have a big idea, you know what people want, you have a promise that matches that and a special way to deliver it. The premise is how you tie all that together to work your marketing angle, to work your big idea, get it out into the world and get it producing for you. So here's one example. I want to take the most obvious example because I don't want to take his other good ones. So let's take this really obvious example. We're back in the box, brand new box, 4 squares in the box, top left, desire. Lose weight fast. Now we go to the right side. Top right, promise. Buy P90X and you'll get shredded. Bottom left, delivery method. Constantly changing workouts, combining intense cardio, weights, etc. So that's the way they do it. That's their unique delivery method. And that's one thing that you want to think about in particular in delivery method. There's something unique about the way you deliver what you do that only you bring to it. And that uniqueness is what is going to help you come up with the big idea. So theirs was constantly changing workouts by combining cardio, weights, all that. Their big idea, muscle confusion. You see how that works? Muscle confusion. So now we'll go down to the premise and put it all together so you see how the premise piece works. So they named that, right? The big idea is muscle confusion. The big idea is what they named their unique delivery method. And you have to look and find an angle that's going to really speak to your market's desires. Like, oh yeah, muscle confusion. That makes sense. It's true. If I just keep doing the same workout, I get used to it. So if I've got muscle confusion, then my muscles don't know what to do and they can't help but grow and I'll be shredded. All right. So premise. Here's the premise. And this is what ties it all together. Traditional workouts have limited results because your body gets used to it. You have to constantly shock the system for maximum impact. Here's how you do it. That's what Frank says. Here's how you do it. And that's where you go into your sales pitch. But you see how that works? Desire, lose weight fast. Premise, buy P90X, you'll get shredded. Delivery method, ever-changing workouts. Big idea, muscle confusion. Traditional workouts don't work because your body gets used to it. You got to confuse your muscles and you get shredded. Doesn't it all make sense? I mean, I love it. So we started this episode talking about stories. And really, I'm obsessed with stories because stories are how people have communicated for eons. It's how people understand. It's how people connect. And I'm obsessed with using stories in what we do, how we're trying to improve the world in our own special way. And I told you how I got, people love to buy, but they hate to be sold. And I'm one of those people that loves to buy. And I got up on some Frank Kern. And you can look him up. Somewhere he's probably selling that trusted authority thing. It's pretty good. I would highly recommend it, in fact, even to just go through the funnel and buy everything that's in there and see how the upsells and downsells work. Super interesting. But telling stories, one way to get a better story, a clearer story, a story that's worthy of paying attention to and taking action on, is having having a big idea that resonates with your market, that taps into their desire, promises to give them what they want in a unique way. The big idea. I gave you the big idea framework. Upper left is desire. Upper right is promise. Lower left is delivery method. Lower right is where you put the big idea, and then you have a premise. And I did not come up with that. It was Mr. Frank Kern, and we're testing it out here at the Podcast Factory. But it is a beautiful tool to snap people out of their days, get their attention, and bring them into your world, ready to listen to you, ready to engage with you, and ready to be a part of what you're doing. So anyways, big idea framework. I wanted to talk about it here just because I'm clarifying my thoughts on it and better understanding it. But next time is something that we love to do here at the Podcast Factory. It's one of our favorite things, and it's having clients that stay with us forever. And I'm going to give you some tips on how you can do that, how you can make your clients happy, stand out in a crowded market, and get people that are not just customers. Customers buy once and are gone, but clients who make a habit of buying from you. So that's next time. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, if you're digging what you're hearing here, subscribe to the show. This is the biggest, stupidest mistake I've ever made. I forgot to tell people to subscribe to the show, the first 20 shows. So go subscribe, iTunes, Google, wherever you're listening to or just type it into the browser. Daddy's working. How the heck did you get here? If you don't know where you're getting me, but subscribe, okay? Subscribe to the show, and I'll see you next week.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.